Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike is here. Garrett is here. Hello, Garrett. How are you, my friend?
Howdy, doing all right today.
Good. Supposed to have Henson on today, but I forgot to text him. So fuck him.
Oops.
He can sit this one out. I'm sure he's very, very busy doing something else, anyways. But yeah, my fault, not his.
He's busy playing with Oyster.
Yeah, there you go. And that's good enough. I'm fine with that. It's kind of a crazy week as I'm getting ready for Tooch to be here for a golf weekend with the boys. So it hasn't been top of mind. I know I had said yesterday that there won't be a show tomorrow because of that very thing. Tooch is only here in the Scottsdale area for a day and a half, and then we go up north. And by the time I'm literally driving him right to the airport when we leave here on Monday, when we leave up north. So I've got a very small window. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna spend all day prepping and then do a show while he's in town for a day and a half. That's kind of rude, but that might be, I might have to do a show tomorrow anyways, because, and people that are members might know this, because I mentioned it on the member show last Thursday, but I had been talking to Vinny from Sponge, and I was like, oh shit, I think I'm supposed to have Vin on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oops.
For tomorrow. The Sponge's new album, 1994, dropped on Friday. It's great. I love it. I've been listening to it. It's fantastic. And so I sent Vinny a text a half hour ago. I was like, hey, dude, what does tomorrow look like for you? Because we hadn't even nailed down a time yet. So if that time doesn't work for him, then I won't do a show. But if he says he can do it tomorrow at this time, I'll just do a show with him. So, and you, Garrett. So, okay. So fingers crossed, there might be a show tomorrow with Vinny, talk music, talk the new album, all that kind of stuff. But if there's not one, that's why, is that Vinny and I had to schedule for another day. And so he will be on, whether it's tomorrow or maybe it'll have to be pushed till next week. We'll see, but just an update on that. Again, members already knew that Vinny was going to be coming on. So
another reason to be a member. You get the news first.
Yeah. You get some breaking news first. Patreon.com/TDC podcast. If you'd like to become a member, get a not a free show, I guess, but a show, an extra show each week. Exclusive content. As soon as I get out of this bedroom, I've had multiple meetings with carpet people. The AC guys were here about running power, conduit and power into that room for the AC unit. That was at 7:00 this morning. So I've been on the go a lot, trying to kind of get this stuff in order as we progress. It's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be easy. But then I'll be able to get kind of more stable and do some more stuff in the members area, like the Drew and Mike Pause, which is fun. It's just, it's impossible with the setup I have currently. Yeah. So anyways, lots to get to today. The Arnold Palmer story, the Trump Arnold Palmer story is fucking hilarious to me. It broke yesterday. I often say I don't pay any attention to his, he's basically living in Pennsylvania right now. They've decided this, battleground state is where everything's going to happen. So that's why he was at McDonald's in Pennsylvania, and she's all over Pennsylvania TV. So it's kind of wild, but I don't pay much attention. So I missed it before yesterday's show. But he apparently commented on Arnold Palmer's dick being huge. Something like that. And, watching people flip out about it and try to make a big deal out of it. It's just it's so funny to me. He was, so Arnold Palmer's daughter was asked about this, of course, because what woman doesn't want to talk about her dad's dick? I mean, that's obviously. Just, for the AP, all these, holier than thou, principled broadcasters and journalists and reporters can't wait to run and be like, did you hear Trump alluded to your dad's cock? What say you? It's just so fucking stupid. Most of us could move on from it. It's just silly. But it's also very, guy-like. When you're talking about the difference between, like, why don't men like, why is Kamala struggling with men? It's because men understand how guys talk, how guys behave. And we'll get into more of that. There's more examples of it later in the show. But he was so so she had mentioned, and there's some hidden stuff here too, I think you can pick out of this story. So she called Trump's reference to her dad's cock and balls genitalia because she's a lady. She's a proper lady, not just a lady. She's a proper lady. So she's like talking about her father's genitalia.
Yeah.
A poor choice of approaches, if you will, to honoring his memory. I don't think it is. If you're honoring someone's memory and talking about how hung they are.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I don't know a single guy that would be like, whoa. How dare you in death besmirch my good name by talking about what a huge cock I had? Like, no guy would have a problem with that, for real. So it's cute that his daughter, and I get her point, would have a problem with that. But think about that, fellas. If people were out there post you living, talking about, one thing I remember about that guy was horse-like in reality. Like, dude, that's the dream. That's the dream right now. And hopefully people will say that about me when I'm dead and not ask me to prove it while I'm alive. But if you want to start that rumor as soon as I die, give it a week. And then you want to start those rumors. I love it. I'm all about it. When it's like, I wish he was still alive, man. He'd show you. He loved showing it off. He would do the Kentucky wristwatch, the whole works. He was very proud of it. It was abnormally large. Like that's a rumor I'm fine with, Garrett. If that directive. Remember, Jay is still on the hook for speaking at my funeral and making sure to tell everybody that I in no way lived life to the fullest. And your job now, you're in control of the keys to this car that you run with. I know it's probably inappropriate to talk about right now at his wake, but
I'll do it right over. I'll do a speech at your funeral.
Yeah, that's fine. You could do that.
Got you.
But if you want to do it on the DL, that's fine too.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that. I'm sure Arnold Palmer is smiling in his casket right now.
Why wouldn't he be?
About the fact that this is an actual story. It was a poor choice of approaches to remembering my father, but what are you going to do? On Saturday, Trump kicked off his rally with a detailed 12-minute story about Palmer. Not about Palmer's dick, but about Arnold Palmer. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the Mount Rushmores in golf.
He makes a great drink.
He makes an awesome drink. My favorite drink. My favorite drink. Honest. I get anyone that goes out to eat with me knows I ordered an Arnold Palmer almost exclusively. So he was talking about Palmer and an anecdote of what Palmer looked like in the showers. When he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there. They said, "Oh my God, that's unbelievable." I have to say, we have women that are highly sophisticated here, but they used to look at Arnold as a man. His daughter Peg, poor thing, having to get dragged into this.
Was she named after his dick?
Yeah, maybe peg leg, pegging, could be. And his wife, Peg Palmer Wares is her last name is Wares now. Who will be casting her ballot in North Carolina, said she believes in privacy at the ballot box. Oh, okay. Again, that is a Trump supporter right there. Only a Trump supporter would say that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking for codes in anything, when someone says, "I believe in privacy at the ballot box," that means they're voting for Trump. Because if you don't know, here's another piece of advice for you. If you're wondering out there, if you don't know who a celebrity is voting for, that means Trump.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but that's what that means. That should also tell you something, but that's the reality. That's the truth. If you don't know who an athlete's voting for, if a celebrity's not jumping all over social media, telling you to get out there and vote and who they're voting for, it means they're voting for Trump. The problem with saying that publicly is it can cost you career, it can cost you friends, it can cost you all kinds of things. There is zero risk in coming out and saying, "Oh my God, I'm voting for Kamala." Like, none. So when Peg says that, Peg knows in her neighborhood, at her local restaurant, that might get her food sprinkled with feces. It might get her spit on. It might get her a lecture from someone. All kinds of her key card. her people doing lawn jobs at her house. Like, there's real risk to admitting that. It takes kind of a brave individual to come out and say that. If you disagree with me, feel free to say it. But that's how it feels anyways. So her saying that, like, oh yes, I believe in privacy at the ballot box, tells you exactly who she's voting for. She only had passing encounters with Trump at functions decades ago, but that her father and Trump, who's an avid golfer, obviously, shared a kinship over an interest in golf and a love of golf. Emotional at times, she recalled conversations with her old man. She said her father believed in the Republican Party. Yeah, no shit.
I wonder why.
Yeah, he's an old white guy with a huge cock. Of course he did.
Probably.
Yeah. A day doesn't go by that I don't think about what my father would say about something or what's happening. So he was politically involved. He was watching the news and going, are you fucking kidding me? They want the taxpayer to pay for trans surgeries of illegals in prison. That's what she means when she says that. He was watching stories like that and going, oh my God, this country's gone to fucking hell. Stuff like that is what she's probably referencing. We didn't always agree on things, but he was quintessential. He was a quintessential American who believed fervently in this country, even when he questioned its direction. Yeah, that would be questioning its direction. Open borders, I guarantee he would have a problem with, that kind of thing. Asked 3 times on CNN State of the Union about what he thought of Trump's remarks, House Speaker Mike Johnson. Appropriate that you'd ask a Mr. Johnson for comment on this. He said, I'll address it. Let me answer it. Don't say it again. We don't have to say it. I get it. Governor Chris Sununu told ABC's This Week that he didn't like Trump's comments, one in which he used a profanity to refer to Vice President Kamala Harris. Another thing that a lot of men would say. Trump went up there and he went, she's a shit vice president.
Yeah.
That's something a normal guy would say. Right, that wouldn't watch his words. If you were asking guys in public, like, "Yeah, what do you think of Kamala?" Dude, she's been a fucking shit vice president. That's what I think. That's what guys would say when they're not looking around and wondering, "Am I going to get judged for this?" That's what they would say. Shithole countries. I don't want the shithole countries over here. Like dudes would say that. So if dudes for Kamala are looking for pointers and stuff, that's one way you could do it. Say stuff like that. Shit vice president. I mean, it's just par for the course. He speaks in hyperbole. He gets crowds riled up. Sununu said, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont argued the comments show how little Trump is focusing on important issues. I think you really wait. How does Bernie Sanders? No, that's Trump.
It's very.
Is he more? No, that's Lindell. Bernie Sanders.
That's closer.
I'm trying to remember.
It. That's getting closer. It's that, but angrier.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that's.
I'm on a honeymoon in Russia. Bernie, I think you have a lot of Americans, whether you're conservative, whether you're progressive or moderate, who say, really? We have major issues facing this country. Is this kind of human being that we want as president of the United States? Yeah, it's because we have those issues that you want someone like that as president of the United States.
Yeah, you nailed it, by the way.
I can't remember. No, that was a really shitty Bernie. I've done better Bernies before.
I mean, I just pulled up a random speech, played it side by side.
Did I kind of get it?
Talk about living paycheck to paycheck. What's
living
about?
paycheck to paycheck.
Have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to put food on the table.
And what does that do to them?
What does that do to them?
In their minds.
In their minds.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay. Yeah. It's so funny. I was watching people on Twitter last night debate this, and they always want to look more into this, like, how Trump, as if he can't just be a guy, go shoot around a golf, talk a little shit, behave how men behave. And Garrett, I think of you as every bit the man any of my other guy friends are. The fact that you're, and I mean that sincerely. The fact that you're homosexual doesn't put you in a different category than, like, you're a dude's dude. You talk shit you talk shit better than most fucking straight guys I know.
3 biggest hobbies are cars, guns, and guitars. So
and shit talking. You troll. You shit talk. You're not afraid to mix it up in a conversation with people. Like what you're, who you're attracted to has no bearing on that. No. Honestly, it really doesn't. And so when I say men, I don't mean only straight white men. No, black dudes talk like this too.
Yeah.
Men. I know Asian guys who speak their minds. men in general. So that includes our gay community friends. That's not exclusive to straightness. I want to be clear about that. But the amount of people online that they're trying to push another narrative. Who's the Asian homo that is on Howard Stern all the time? He's been like fondling dick.
George Takei.
Yeah. Oh my. Oh my. George Takei.
Oh my.
He was. Why is the GOP always infatuated with genitalia? And it was like, nice try, George. Nice try. Yeah. These people, the projection, the mirroring they try to do is hilarious. I remember Obama recently gave that speech where he was talking about Trump and he did this, as in he's got a small dick. See what Obama did? Because Obama doesn't care about the country and he's not taking it seriously.
Obviously, that's what we just heard.
Do you remember Stormy Daniels on Steve Colbert?
Yeah, didn't she say he had the mushroom head wiener?
Yeah. So Steve, and again, I don't call him Stephen Colbert. His name is Colbert. And Steve. So the artist, the logo, the iconic logo of the elitist talk show host, he would want you to call him Stephen Colbert. Yeah. It comes with an arrogance to it. But Steve Colbert. Yeah, Steve Colbert's just a guy. It's like Steve King. So if you feel it, listen to it. Stephen Colbert versus Steve Colbert.
Steve Colbert works at the corner store.
Right, exactly. Steve Colbert could be anyone. So when you take their opinions, you put it in that context. Jim Kimmel, right?
Yeah.
James Kimmel. Yeah, he's just Jim. He's just Jim. That's all he is. He's not Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel. Fuck that guy. He's just Jim Kimmel. He's James. That nothing more. He came out of a vagine just like you did. And now he has way more money than you. So Steve Colbert wants to talk about Trump's dick all the time when he's got Stormy Daniels on.
Yeah.
So the Jim Kimmel, when he has her on, remember he brought a plate of mushroom caps out, different variant sizes, all small, and asked her to point out which one was Trump's dick, basically, on television.
Classic.
Yeah. So, oh my, the guy that's fondled more cocks than anyone on Howard Stern show, examined assholes.
Yep.
All that kind of shit.
On record, by the way.
What's that?
I was saying on record. This isn't just made up stories. Yeah. He was on the show doing this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With video cameras on it.
Yeah.
Talking at length, discussing, the veininess of this one is gorgeous. We've all seen the clips, heard the clips. So it's adorable that he's gonna be like, what is this? Why is the GOP all infatuated with genitalia? Stay in your lane, fucking weirdo. Stay in your lane. What are you talking about?
I think you should be more interested.
The only reason they're talking about it is because of you guys putting shit like this out there. That's why it's brought up all the time. Why are all these GOP people infatuated with Hunter Biden's cock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not at all what it was about.
Yeah. That was the cop-out to not look at what was in the emails.
Right. It was just a nice, hilarious, by the way, aside to the real story that we cared about. It wasn't about Hunter Biden's dick, which was a hilarious aside. Him having his dick out at every turn and fucking hookers galore with crack whores and doing crack with whores and being.
If anything, that made him
funny.
That made us like him a little bit more.
Yeah, I had no problem with that. It was all the other corruption shit that was in there that we really had a problem with, if you're being honest about it. So, when I think of these elections and whatnot, by the way, it's small things, right? I don't expect people to have grandiose policy that's going to change the world overnight. It's not the way it's set up to go about. But there are small things in how we behave as a society, what do you believe in? Who are you as a person? I think matters. And I think this is a prime example of a story like that. This one, the next story. Jury selection began today in the trial of Daniel Perry. who put a homeless man threatening New York City subway passengers in a fatal chokehold last year.
Justified.
Yeah. Penny, 25-year-old white male, Marine Corps veteran, charged with second-degree manslaughter and criminally neglect homicide in the death of Jordan Neely, who was allegedly threatening passengers on the subway in May of 2023. Yep. Someone who had done this time and time and time again, had been harassing people on the subways, in and out of jail, mental case galore. This is usually very simple in this country. And it's sad that we have to debate this stuff and discuss this stuff, because for most normal, rational people, you look at this and you go, how fast can we pin a medal on this fucking man?
Yeah.
Who served this country, stood up for women and children in a bad situation. That's what that story says to normal people. The fact that people want to usher this person back onto the streets, it's a virtue signal. The fact that people want to charge someone like this with manslaughter, run someone through the criminal justice system, is a clear split in where the parties currently stand on stuff like this.
Yeah.
So this to me is a very big deal. It might not be a big deal to some. This is a very big deal to me. I do not want to get to a point in this nation where every guy, and let's be honest, every man who's put in a position of, fuck, I got to step up here because there's innocent people behind me. And if anyone's got to throw themselves in harm's way, it's got to be me.
Yeah.
It's got to be me. And that's kind of ingrained in you as a young male when you're coming up. You protect women, you protect children, you protect weaker individuals than you. The military members do it to an extreme level. And a lot of us grew up knowing that, fuck, you know what? If something goes down somewhere, I got to jump in front of Marshall.
Yeah.
I just do. I don't care what Amanda's politics are. At the end of the day, I got to fucking step in front of her and put up a guardrail here. And if that means I got to get fucking jacked, it means I got to get shot, so be it. And I think that's an understanding that most males carry with them. So I don't ever want to get to a point where instead of just reacting that way, as we've kind of been trained to do, you take it upon yourself to second guess and go, oh God, is this going to be viewed as I'm some hate? I'm the problem. I'm the problem in this situation. If things go south, when someone fucks around and they find out, and the find out part didn't go to their liking.
Yep. And that's the hardest part, is because now it's going to stop other people from stopping the fuck around.
100%. And I don't want people to ever.
No. Like, what happens if you get into a scenario with an actual terrorist or a threat and somebody sees something but is afraid to do something because they don't want to get called racist in case they're wrong? I'm not saying you look at every Muslim and call them, bomb, but like,
yeah,
there's credible moments where you probably see somebody doing something a little fishy and you want to call them out real quick.
Yeah. And you should, and if it's nothing, then so be it. If I'm acting sketch in someone's neighborhood and I end up getting the cops called on me, I have no problem if they go.
I've had it happen to me.
Yeah, dude, you've been.
I make the joke that I'm the white guy they use in every ADT security commercial because they can't use a black guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I know my look.
If you're wearing a beanie like that and maybe a sweatshirt and say you're on the phone, say you got an earpiece in, and you're loitering in front of someone's house too long, maybe you're on a walk and you stop for 15 minutes while you're on the phone, they can't see a phone in your hand, and they call and they go, I don't know, dude, some guy in a fucking dark sweatshirt and a beanie it almost looks like he's casing my place. Like, and if the cops rolled up and you could simply explain that to them and be on your way.
Yep.
I'm on a public street. There's nothing wrong with this. I was on my phone taking a call.
And me when I was 14 in Novi, I was hanging out with a couple friends behind the 7-Eleven on 10 and I think 10 Mile and Novi Road, something like that. But we were just hanging out behind the 7-Eleven eating hot dogs, and 3 cop cars pulled up through us on the hoods. Yeah.
3 on the hoods? Yeah.
Yeah, 3 cop cars pulled up, 4 guys. We got thrown.
Did they think you were black? Is that what?
For a second, probably.
Did they think you were brown or black or something?
Probably. I guess from what the cops said, somebody called on us for suspicious activity.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. We had nothing on us.
White guys too.
The cops searched us. We're like, all right, you're good. Have a good day.
Yeah, on your way. He was going back to Mr. Penny, to the Daniel Penny here, and Jordan Neely is the one who is no longer with us. And honestly, it sounds like that's the best outcome for society at large, is that outcome. I don't know how else to say it.
Yep.
Penny's defense team will put jurors in that train car and challenge them with what the safest response would be in the face of Neely's chaos. Court documents indicate fellow passengers were afraid of Neely and feared for their lives. I want to hurt people. I want to go to Rikers. I want to go to prison. One woman claimed Neely was yelling that day in the subway car. That woman, with her son, hid behind his stroller as Neely allegedly charged at them and other passengers.
Yeah, and it sounded like he was trying to do damage.
A high school student prayed after Neely yelled, "Someone's going to die today." Another woman described Neely's actions that day as sickening and satanic. She also said she believed she was going to die. So that's 3 people so far when Neely approached her. She called the experience absolutely traumatizing. Another passenger who has used the subway for more than 30 years said nothing had put her more in fear like Neely did that day.
But Mike, from what I heard, he was just a innocent Michael Jackson impersonator.
Yeah, he was probably on his way to Nana's, starting college on Monday.
And then this racist Marine just came out of nowhere and choked him out.
Penny himself said he was scared of Neely, but I looked around, I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still. So, you know, and on feminists, sit this one out, okay?
Yep.
How would you feel, okay, if that was your sister, your mom, your child in the subway on their way to school in New York, on their way to work that day? Are you hoping in that situation, again, feminists, we don't expect you to get involved at all in this. So, no. You know.
If anything, they're probably hiding behind a man.
Right. When push comes to shove, in this moment, because this incident did in fact happen, in that moment, are you hoping Daniel Perry is on that subway train? As well as your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your mother, your kid? Are you hoping Daniel Perry's on there, or are you hoping it's just Jordan Neely and all the women you care about?
Exactly.
Be honest about it. And if you're in there and you don't know what to do, maybe you're like me and you're fucking old and you're weak. Am I hoping that a real man is also on that, or just me and the women?
No, see, I have a saying too, where it's I wear a size 30, 32 jean. There's no fight. You're just getting shot.
Yeah.
So I'm here for the week too.
Yeah. And in that moment, do you hope that Garrett's on there with his fucking gun?
Hopefully.
Do you hope that Chris Cracchiola is on that fucking subway train with you?
I do. I do.
I do too. I do too. And if you're being honest with yourself, you hope that too. And
I want him to draw first.
The fact that this isn't thrown out on its face, that it's gotten so batshit crazy in New York City with these fucking Soros-appointed DAs and prosecutors, that this is what they're going to charge, trying to make a point about toxic masculinity and white men being the bane of all of our existence. Who do you want on that train when Jordan Neely's going off his fucking rocker in front of your kid and your wife? Penny has disputed the claims that he held Neely in a chokehold for 15 minutes. Some people say I was trying to choke him to death, which is also not true. I was trying to restrain him. You can see in the video there's a clear rise and fall of his chest, indicating he's breathing. I'm trying to restrain him from being able to carry out the threats. The defense will also try to admit evidence of Neely's abuse of the drug K2, which was found in his system when he died, though the medical examiner's report didn't say how much of the drug was found.
That's a rough one, too.
He's had to plead not guilty to the charges against him. Yeah, K2, isn't that the one where you fucking eat people's faces?
No, that's bath salts. K2 is like a off-brand synthetic weed that puts holes in your brain.
Oh,
probably
that's a good
makes
one.
You schizophrenic and scream at people.
Sure. Yeah, so it's stuff like that. Now, do I think someone as an elected official in overseeing the federal government can do anything about whatever batshit crazy policies they want in New York or California? No, I don't. I'm not delusional. I don't think that. But I don't want cover for that from someone who's leading my country. I don't want that to be like, you know, like, oh, we're kind of on the fence about this. No, I hope there's a badass man in that subway if the shit hits the fan. That's what I hope. And I hope he's not a coward. I hope he's brave. Yeah. And I hope he understands his responsibility to his fellow man in that situation. I really do.
A really funny thought, actually.
What's that?
I feel like because I was thinking about who is armed in New York, and the only one I could come up with is Anthony Kumia, and I was like, oh, he would have shot the guy as they were getting on the train.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, he would have domed him and then called him the N-word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these people would. He's out of New York now. Yeah. He's in South Carolina.
Yep. I was like, that's the only New York armed man I know. Yeah.
And that wasn't ezy. I remember him telling the story about that. It's not easy to get a conceal and carry in New York City. Godspeed, Daniel Perry. Thank you for your service, or Daniel Penny. Thank you for your service to the country. It's not lost on some of us that brave men still exist and are necessary in a society. And, we'll be watching this case, and regardless of its outcome, the damage has been done. You've already have half a country that are gonna assume he's a disgrace. When you Google his name, it's gonna generate stories of this, and then there's some debate as to what he's a murderer or a hero. Like that shouldn't have happened, and it did. It is happening. So the damage is done. No, you would hope no sane jury would convict something like this, but lawfare exists. It's a real thing. And so we'll see where this goes, but you need to keep an eye on it. It used to be easy to make these calls. I was very confident in saying there's no fucking chance in hell this Wisconsin jury is going to be able to convict Kyle Rittenhouse. Not happening. And it didn't happen. It was so obvious if you watch that trial how that should happen. But in this fucked up world we're living in right now, who knows what a New York jury will do? Who knows?
No, I don't know.
I don't know what these fucking insane people will do. Trump's legal team. What's that?
I was going to say, I will tell people a lot of, if you want to get out of jury duty, this is also a good way to do it. But there's a certain thing. So you have your guilty, you're not guilty. And then there's a third charge where it's like, we can actually hit him with all the charges, but not find him guilty of anything. It's like, no, he did it all, but we just are clearing him. So that's an actual thing you can vote as a jury.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know you can do that, which is, I hope what happens to him. They can say, he did it, but we're not fucking hitting him with anything.
Yeah. They'd probably go, welcome to the jury box in Manhattan right now.
Exactly.
That's probably how that would play out. They'd be like, oh, we accept him on the jury. Yep. Trump's legal team told CBS News Monday they were considering litigation if the news outlet did not release the full transcript of its 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. Is this the one that was like 40 minutes long and then cut to 16 minutes or 18 minutes? Was that the one?
Yeah.
Am I getting that confused?
No, that might be Brett Baer, where it was supposed to be 30.
No.
You're talking 60 minutes. Yep.
Brett Baer's was taped to live. So
yep.
Was it 60 minutes or is there another one that was in there that they did that with?
I think it's 60 minutes.
I could be confused on that. There might be one more that she did that was, because it might have been a CNN one where they did 40 minutes with her and then they cut it to 16 or 18 minutes. And that's all we got.
It was CNN. You're right. I got Kamala Harris skewered on border issue by CNN disaster, an 18-minute interview.
Yeah. That's the one I'd like to see the transcript on. I know they're going after the CBS one. I understand why. And if CBS had any sort of journalistic integrity, they would in for fairness, for transparency, they would have no problem issuing something like that.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, they don't want to. So, it's not a law. There's not a law unless a court orders you to release something like that. Then they would be forced to, if they hadn't destroyed it. You could do that, but it's not a law that they have to release transcripts. They do it for an abundance of transparency and stuff like that. So it seems weird when they don't release that stuff. CBS has come under fire in recent days after it aired two different versions of Harris's response to a question on Israel. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. We don't need to play it, but one in a promotional clip online, the other in the actual broadcast interview. Trump's legal team argued that CBS edited Harris's answer to tilt the scales in her favor, mislead the public ahead of the presidential campaign. Such manipulative editing was aimed at causing confusion about the electorate regarding Vice President Kamala Harris's abilities, intelligence, and appeal. Trump's lawyer, Edward Palcic, wrote in a letter to CBS, news organizations such as CBS have a responsibility to accurately represent the truth of events, not distort an interview to try and make their preferred candidate appear coherent and decisive, which Harris most certainly is not. Due to CBS's actions, the public cannot distinguish which Kamala Harris we are seeing, the candidate or the puppet of a behind-the-scenes editor. Trump's letter demanded that CBS release the full, unedited transcript of the interview to the public and to preserve all documents and communications about the interview in contemplation of possible litigation. Again, I don't know what kind of litigation you could put forward. The executives and producers at CBS and 60 Minutes in particular are unquestionably aware that the purpose behind editing the interview was to confuse the electorate and portray the VP in a better light than a full unedited transcript would reveal. Responsible news sources must be held accountable at the highest standards. The edited portion, so Bill Whitaker said, but it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. In a promotional video posted online, Harris responded by saying, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much promoted by or the result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. In the interview that airs, Harris responded by saying, we are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end. This is one of those two things can be true at the same time kind of situations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
60 Minutes gave an excerpt of our interview to Face the Nation that used a longer section of her answer than that on 60 Minutes. Same question, same answer, different portion of the response. That's probably true.
Yeah.
That they would have given as a snippet to promote a coming up interview. There's probably 60-second versions, 30-second versions, and 15-second versions, depending on when you're going to slip that in. If you've got a 15-second timeout in a football game, you air this one. If you've got 30 seconds or 60 in a full commercial break, you might air different versions. That part is probably true. But the other truth is there's probably a lot more. What Kamala has displayed time and again is word salad garbage. I don't even know what she said there, right? I don't know what that is. And so when they edit that quietly to make her sound coherent, I understand why you would go, wait a minute. You took this completely out of the way she fucking actually speaks because we know you want to help her. Do you think in all fairness and all truth, do you think they would give that same grace and gratitude to Donald Trump?
No, they'd cut his sentence a little bit shorter to get the worst part of it.
Right. That's just the way these people seem to be operating.
It's a bloodbath.
Right. Right. They would creatively edit it to make one person look worse and one person look amazingly good.
It's happening right in front of our faces.
She doesn't look good even when they do that. But the further point is, if you go to 60minutes.com, and you can all do this yourselves, and you search transcripts, you'll get 5,979 results currently. That's what you'll get. You can search the author, Bill Whitaker. You can search Anderson Cooper, Scott Pelley. You can search Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. Full transcripts available of live broadcasts. The problem with that is, so there you go. And there's a picture of it. If you're watching us on YouTube or wherever you view this podcast, you can see it on there.
Yeah.
That still doesn't give the full transcript. That's a full, it's up to 5,980 results for transcripts.
Yeah.
That is still the transcript of what aired. It is not the full transcript of what took place in an interview. I don't know that this is a big deal. It seems sort of like a big deal. Like if you're going out of your way to make someone sound completely different than they actually sound, if the point is holy shit, we have to edit this. She's not making any sense. You know, I've had to do that with interviews. When I interviewed, I've talked about it before, but when I interviewed Van Halen's manager, Noel, whatever, Jay and I did the interview, and Jay went, it was recorded. We recorded it. It took an hour and a half. And he'd written this great book about Van Halen. He sounded hammered in it. He was stuttering and he was slurry. He sounded off, and it was irritating to listen to.
Yeah, no Monk.
Noel Monk was his name. And it didn't go well. And Jay was fucking pissed that he wasted his time reading the book, coming up with questions. And then we have this interview that is a mess. It's a word salad mess. The guy's repeating himself, stumbling over words, losing his train of thought. And I said, calm down, man. Give me tonight and let me work on this. And at no point did I take one single word out of context. Not one.
Yeah.
But I took that hour and a half interview, whittled it down to 45 minutes, and cut out all the stammering. I cut out all the repeating. I cut out all the shit, garbage, dead air that would have driven listeners nuts to listen to. Because he is who he is. He was their manager for many years in the early band's history. And he was telling great stories, but it was a mess. And so I did that not because he's running the country or asking to run the country, but because I wanted to give my audience something worthy of listening to. The stories were there. The meat was there. It was just loaded with a lot of garbage around it. And so, you know, creatively editing that to make it sound totally different. You know, I'm taking him out of context. I'm making him answer questions that were unrelated to the question I actually asked him. I would never do that. And I didn't do that. I strictly just cut out the bullshit. But if Noel Monk was running for public office, if he was trying to run a community, you know, he was trying to be whatever, and he was going to be in charge of policy making, decision making. He was going to be the guy. And I did that because I want Noel to look good, because I'm rooting for Noel, and I edited that way. It would be reasonable for people to go, yeah, I have issues with Noel, and what I've seen in Noel, he doesn't sound this coherent. He kind of sounds like a fucking dipshit. Are you sure that's what Noel really sounded like? And if I'm being fair and honest about it, no, Noel did not sound great. But Noel's stories were great, and I was able to cut them up, no harm, no foul, and give my audience something worth listening to.
Yeah.
If he was running for something that affected all of us, it would be fair for someone to go, let me hear the whole thing without you doing all the cutty, snippy stuff and tightening up that made him sound coherent. And if I played that for people, the email I would have gotten, I'd still be getting going, what the fuck was wrong with that guy?
Yeah.
Do you see the distinction if you take it out of the context of running for public office that's going to represent all of us versus something like that? Like, that's the fear that CBS is dealing with. Like, that there's a reason they won't let this lady speak without filters, without pre-knowing what the questions are. She can't do real town halls. She's never had a press conference, not one. You know, so that sort of stuff, you know, I think they have a moral obligation or a responsibility in doing that. Trump, every fucking thing that could potentially make him look bad is put out there. It just is. So in fairness, you know, there's ethics in journalism, right? Ethics is a big part of journalism. I have a story right here. Journalists can enlist the help of other professionals like transcriptionists, and there's very strict rules on how this works. To make their work easier, certain news professionals turn to these solutions to keep their reporting on point. They use transcripts to double-check quotes, give credit where it's due, and so on. Common. If you don't have that, you set your iPhone down and record it.
Yeah.
So that you're getting those things right. What do journalists need to look for in an ethical transcription service provider to maintain their integrity while outsourcing the task?
You don't even have to outsource it anymore. We have AI that will do it for you. You can just put it into a chat GPT and it'll spit you out a transcript of the video.
Probably, as long as the coding currently isn't manipulated. You know, that's fear with that. But if you're doing it the traditional way, like CBS is, if they've got transcription services they're using.
Well, if they're any good, they have their AI saved locally, so it's just there. It's
I won't pretend to know how they do it. I can't comment on it because I don't know what they're doing. It probably says on their website what their transcriptions service they're using is, whether that's AI, whether that's I don't know. Yeah. But for interview transcripts, okay, so there's press conference transcripts, court proceeding transcripts, which I filmed. I used to take a camera and set up, and I would film deposition transcripts and then have to present those, pull a screen down and present those in a court for the jury box and for the judges. There's media event transcripts, but when you're talking about interview transcripts, ensures accurate quoting, context preservation, preventing misrepresentation of sources. So context preservation is one of the key things that you're going for. Ensuring precision and upholding journalistic standards. Journalists must ensure that their transcription partners are on point to keep their stories credible and above board. The people transcribing must keep their lips shut when it comes to crucial details they might encounter. As they say, loose ships, or at least in journalism, reputations. Yeah. This does matter, folks. This sort of stuff matters. It's not good for our society that there is a giant fucking percentage of this population that hears their doctor currently, right now, tell them something and they go, fuck off. No. Keep your fucking vax, man. I don't know what you're up to, but I don't trust it. Yeah. That's not good. When you lose your credibility, it's lost. It's incredibly difficult to get them back, that credibility back. Dr. Fauci did a tremendous disservice to this country. I know some of you view him with sainthood as a lord. Too often he lied to the American people. He just did. And so that leads to credibility issues. That's why this stuff is so important. The transcription provider must also stick to the facts, writing down exactly what's said without throwing in their 2 cents. These transcribers need to keep their eyes on the prize, understanding that their work could make waves, good or bad, for the people involved. This involves other people, not, reporters must verify the transcribed content is highly accurate before it hits the presses. That means listening to recordings or understanding the full context of what was said. Consent is non-negotiable, mitigating prejudice and maintaining editorial independence. Sneaky biases can creep into the transcripts or even hold on to the reins of editorial control, so journalists must be vigilant about it. Twisting words or cherry-picking quotes can lead the public down a garden path of mixed-up facts. To avoid this mess, reporters should only team up with reliable providers that'll give them the lowdown on what's in the story they're working on. Double checking the transcripts against the original recordings is necessary to catch any misunderstandings. If journalists need to trim down a transcript for clarity, they must be honest about any changes to ensure the heart of the message stays intact. News outlets need to let their audience know how they use transcription services and what technology they employ to get the job done. Putting all this info out there helps keep readers in the loop and builds trusts. Journalists can't just wash their hands of the process once the transcript is done. They need to get their hands dirty to ensure everything's on the up and up, fixing any slip-ups, keeping an eye on fact checkers and doing their fact checkers doing their things helps ensure that what ends up in print meets the gold standard of journalism. If they make a mistake, news organizations need to own up to it fast and show they're not afraid to admit their lapses. That right there is what is not going on with these agencies. That's what's not going on.
Not for a while.
You should not know who Bill Whitaker is pulling for, who Anderson Cooper is pulling for, who Don Lemon is pulling for. Again, I've talked about this for 10 fucking years now. There's a big difference between editorialists and journalists, reporters. That's what Don Lemon claims to be, a journalist.
Yeah.
Is that what you get from Don Lemon?
No,
No,
more of an opinion writer.
What? Yeah. Oh my God, yes. So that has changed in the last few years. That would be unacceptable broadcast stuff. So that's what we're dealing with. So 60 Minutes, you can see the sort of protections and the safeguards and the levels they are supposed to go to maintain integrity so that their word is believed. Honesty. Mr. President, this is not true. That's just not true. I'm done. I'm done with you, 60 Minutes. Fuck off. No. On certain stories, I'm done. That alone, Leslie Stahl saying that. Trump brought it up not long ago. 60 Minutes owes me an apology for Leslie Stahl. He was exactly right. You don't have to like that truth, but it is true. Leslie Stahl failed in that moment. That should have been immediately fucking admonished. That should have been dealt with. That there should have been a disclaimer put out that in the highest regard for integrity, this is unacceptable from a journalist to weigh in on that. He made a claim. It's her job to fucking fact check that. It was easily fact checked.
Yeah.
It's just not true, Mr. President. This is not true. The Hunter Biden laptop, I think, is what that story was. It was brutal. Brutal. Bath and Body Works. Is that the store that's in the malls?
Yeah, they're in the malls all the place.
Yeah. I was thinking Bed Bath and Beyond was a big one, but I think they're gone now. Is Bed Bath and Beyond all gone?
No, I think they're still kicking around. There's just not too many of them.
Chapter 11? I thought they were. Look that up real quick.
I am.
For journalistic integrity.
No, they're around. I'm looking for the one nearest me. Let's see. Come on.
Were they in Chapter 11 and they've closed a lot? Not that it matters. Just curious.
I love that this says Southfield plus Bed Bath & Beyond. It's a bus stop. It looks like actually all the ones around me are permanently closed.
Yeah, I think they all permanently closed.
Shit, look at that.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
See? Yeah.
At least the ones around here are.
You fuck with my pillow and that's what happens. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, I was in all the Bed Bath & Beyonds.
I called up some cartel boys. We sorted it out.
Yeah. All you got to do now is go to mypallo.com. Use promo code TDC. I'll take care of Mike and the boys. That's how you buy them now. So fuck Bed Bath & Beyond. By the way, those weren't as good as the ones you'd get direct from MyPillow anyways. So Bath & Body Works, which claims to put DEI at the heart of everything it does, apparently focused too much on DEI and not enough on quality assurance during a recent project. The company got slammed on social media after releasing a candle. Oh, boy. And my immediate thought was, oh, great. They got a cock candle, right?
That'd be nice.
Isn't that usually... Nah, stop it, Garrett.
What?
No one wants a cock candle.
Well, yeah, as long as it doesn't smell like cock.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse. It could smell like burning crosses.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be good either.
No.
In fact, that's really their problem. But when I think of anything spheric or cock-like in nature that can, I guess some candles you could do that with. But I wasn't expecting this one. And we'll pull up a picture here in a second. They released a candle design eerily similar to the Ku Klux Klan hood. It's called Snowed In, which is kind of ironic because it's a snowflake.
Yeah.
The picture is just a snowflake.
There it is. Look at those little guys.
They
look so happy.
Look at those little happy Klansmen. Yeah,
little happy
look at
Klansmen.
those little guys.
It's winter.
Yeah. Look at us. Look at those roops. Oh, my God, dude. If that's not 5 little happy Klansmen, I don't know what is. How would someone not look at that immediately and see 5 Klansmen?
You know, it's the first thing I saw. Yeah, I
gotta
want one too. I'm mad. I missed out on this.
This is something I would want, like, as the collector in me. I want this shit. Like, I want that up somewhere. I would never light it.
No,
my
whole collection is just goofy shit that nobody else has. It's not like one particular thing. It's just goofy shit that shouldn't exist, but I have it.
Yeah, I love it. So this is the Snowed In one. Bath and Body Works quickly removed the clandles, as they're calling them.
I like that.
Clandles.
Is that theirs or the internet's?
But I'm sure it's the internet. Now, if they called it a clandle,
sold it as better. One.
Oh, that's so dope. I want a clandle.
Oh, yeah. You get the little wick comes out with a little cross.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is just, I don't know how people don't see it when they're going through that. It's like Tooch, speaking of Tooch, coming to town when he worked for Cox Media and they had the Christmas party and they were putting out the table decorations and they had the jar full of suckers. And he's like, and they've got the media logo all over him. And he's like, Cox suckers, really? You're putting out fucking cock suckers? And they were like, okay. And they just removed them all their fucking table center things. He's like, you're putting out fucking baskets that say they're cock suckers.
Yeah.
And yeah, hilarious. But it took one guy who wasn't eyes on the fucking project the whole time to walk in and go, cocksuckers. I see what you did there. I like that.
We have that going on in our company. There's this sweet old lady we hired. She does collections, love her to death. But she doesn't understand colloquial blue collar terms. Yeah. Like she won't say the F word. So instead of fucker, she called somebody a fluffer one time. We're like, oh, that's even worse.
Ooh.
And we had to explain to her what a fluffer was.
What I think whenever I hear those is like, you're going to fool God with that one.
Yeah.
I remember this really religious person that lived behind us, and they would say cheese and rice instead of Jesus Christ.
God knows what you're
saying. Like, I think God could probably figure that out. I think he's more concerned about the intent behind something. Yeah. So when you say, oh, cheese and rice, I don't think it's the win you think it is.
No, I call it the Jewish light switch. That's kind of what I do all those terms. Because, during I think it's Passover, they can't use electricity or any kind of technology. So they have these weird, crazy mechanical light switches that override their light switch. So technically they're not doing the technology, but the light switch is.
See what you're doing there. They're getting cute.
It's like a random thing. It's a whole fucking system. I call it it's the Jewish light switch.
Yeah. What you're saying is Jews can be sneaky sometimes? Is that what you're alluding to?
Sometimes. Wow. Yeah. They're known for that, I think.
Holy shit, Garrett. Look at you.
I think I've heard them called rats before. Rats are a clever, sneaky
terrible thing to say. I would never say that Jews are sneaky.
No,
that's basically what you were saying in a nutshell there.
When Christoph Waltz said it, it was a compliment. They're sneaky. They're cunning.
Yeah.
They're clever.
Right. I think they take offense to it. Great offense to it.
Maybe.
Bath and Body Works felt the need to respond to this. Instead of going, hey, I don't know what you clowns are looking at. It's a snowflake. Fine, we'll remove it since some of you toddlers can't see what it is. And by the way, those are adorable fucking Klansmen. Look at those wee proops. Look at those proops, Klansmen. I mean, they're honest to God. You find a cuter Klansman than the Klandle.
They're so
look
happy.
At those proops. Look at those guys. Look at those guys. Yeah.
They're greeting you with presents.
I want to go out with 4 buddies for Halloween.
I like the little sparkles behind them too. Like they got a little fire in the background. They're just inviting you to their little bonfire.
Yeah. We're just out here burning crosses. Don't mind us.
No, we're just here.
Look at those little guys.
The snow is getting a little cold, so we started a fire. If
you went out with 4 of your buddies and you went as a Klandle, it's the perfect Halloween outfit. It's perfect. I love it. Yeah. So they said, we are committed to our teams and customers and committed to fixing any mistakes we make, even those that are unintentional, like this one. Oh, really? Was that unintentional? Are you sure? Because I was thinking it was probably intentional that you were trying to promote Klansmanship.
Yeah, that's popular right now.
I'm glad they came out and stated that, because I was really concerned, like, oh my God, I wouldn't have thought that about Bath and Body Works, but maybe they're trying to promote,
the MAGA crowd isn't known for getting candles and scented, lotions. So they probably were trying to bring some of them in.
We apologize to anyone we've offended and are swiftly working to have this item removed and are evaluating our process going forward. You're evaluating your process? Really? So, by the way, I thought we were the standard now was intent doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So by the standard the precedent and standard that these companies keep setting and Hollywood keeps telling us that intent doesn't matter, words matter. So by that standard, I think heads need to roll.
Yeah.
Obviously. You need to fall on the sword. Maybe you should close up shop, Bath and Body Works.
I got an idea for them.
Intent doesn't matter, You got an idea for them?
Yeah. Here's a great idea. You ready? Next time you guys come up with a new product, just send a picture to like a just show it to a couple high schoolers. Be like, hey, what's this look like? If they're like a candle, then it's a candle. If they're like, oh, that's the Ku Klux Klan. Don't sell it.
Is it possible that some smartass did it on purpose and knew exactly what it looked like?
I mean, it's possible.
And does that necessarily mean a hate person?
No,
I don't think
I get what they were going for, though, and that's why I think it's an honest mistake, is they probably just took a photo of some shitty made just paper snowflake.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like, is they just needed a quick photo of a snowflake for the candle that's made out of paper. It's cutesy, it's artsy craftsy.
Yep. And they're clicking and pasting where their warning logo is going to go, where their actual Bath and Body Works logo goes.
Like,
where
if
does
you
the
look at it,
go?
it's a very cheap cut, and then these are just hole punches.
Yeah. And that's something kids would do in an art class, making snowflakes for the holiday season.
Candles.
Yeah, candles. And they just nab that, and you see this a lot. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can tell me that Peppa Pig's face isn't a cock and ball set. Like, is what it is. Like, I'm sure your kid loves Peppa Pig. That this is great. I look at that and I go, I see what you're doing there. This is a little nod to the adults in the room. Peppa Pig's obviously a cock and ball set. If you find a picture of it, pull it up, Garrett. I didn't send it to you, but
already
on it. I've talked many times about. There you go. Peppa Pig's head is a cock and ball, right?
A little bit of a chode there, but yeah.
But that's what that is. So some artist found that hilarious and thought they could sneak one by. When I would put together Cliff Notes Theater, burying farts in Cliff Notes Theater was common. It started out like one time, and then I would just add it every time, and then it just became our thing. Mark and I would do that, and then he and I would get an extra chuckle when it aired.
Yeah,
every time it aired, because we got sick of hearing them. Because when you're producing something like that, it takes hours and hours and hours. It's like a band recording a song in the studio. And by the time you get through 1,000 hours of mixing and all that kind of stuff, the song is fucking dead to you by then in a band. And
no, trust me. I mix music sometimes.
But then you get to the point of, is this even a good song? And then you put it on, it's huge. And it's like, because they're hearing it for the first time. Cliff Notes Theater would be the same way. You're going through it. And so to keep yourself having fun, creative people do creative things. And so burying farts and stuff is something we would do, and we would laugh. I don't know if I listen to them now, if I could pinpoint where they were. Maybe, but we've seen this with Disney over the years, right?
Famously,
there's a cock in the clouds, and it's like,
well, it's more on the castle right here.
Yeah, the castle there, if you zoom in. And I do have an article here. Some of them real, some of them not. And you look at that and it's like, yeah, that's a cock. That's a cock in the Disney 100%. Castle. The Little Mermaid, on the original VHS cover, there's a large golden cock there. The rumor is that the dick was deliberately drawn as a last act of defiance by a disgruntled Disney artist who was being laid off. The truth is, the artist who created the cover did not work for Disney itself, thus was not a disgruntled employee, and claims the penis tower was completely inadvertent. I suppose that could be it. It looks like you've buried front and center in the main.
No, you know what though? I think it's intentional. This is an artist having a little fun, because that cock's got a slant to it, and there's no reason a tower like that should have a slant on the roof.
Yeah, and the bulbous head. We've seen that bulbous head, clipped head before.
He's got some. He's even got the little underside, the little vein you can see.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of cocks. This is 100% cock.
It does, and it's sparkling, it's golden.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about that one to me. That someone buried a cock in there, and it's probably a creative guy who is tired of this. This could be the 50th time he's submitted the castle for approval before finally dialing in on one, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck these guys.
Yeah,
I'll show them. Fine. You want me to go and revise it one more time? No problem." And then he finds a way to put a nice cock in it. And then he gets to chuckle every time a kid goes, Mommy, can we watch The Little Mermaid? And holds up the box. Yeah. He gets a little chuckle to himself. Nice work, sir, I would say. The Little Mermaid, in the first wedding scene, the minister appears to have a hard-on. Disney claims the bulge is actually just his knee sticking out. You be the judge.
I could see knee.
I could see knee, but I can also see hard-on.
Yeah. I think it's just a little low for a hard-on. Like, given this guy's stature, his dick would probably be right here in the yellow.
Yeah, well, if it was towering, maybe.
Maybe. But he's also a big guy. Probably got the stomach coming over it.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've got, I love this one, because this is, honestly, I loved The Rescuers when I was a kid. The Rescuers was fucking awesome. I don't mean whatever gay one they have for you guys now. No offense, Garrett. No I'm sure there's a 2000s version of The Rescuers.
We had the Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of shit. DuckTales type shit. Like, no, man.
Chippendale. I think that's who it was. It was the Chippendale.
The original Rescuers was fucking awesome. It was scary. It was great. I remember that as a little kid watching that. And
it had a set of titties.
And a set of titties was buried in it. I had no idea. If you look up top there in the middle, if you're watching the video, approximately 38 minutes into the film, as Bianca and Bernard fly through the city in a sardine can, the image of a topless woman can be seen in 2 different frames. Disney claims the images were not placed in the frame by their animators, but were inserted during the post-production process.
Yeah,
brilliant.
For sure.
Love it.
That's totally just cut out and pasted.
I'd love to see that in live action, to see what those 2 frames look like. I'm not asking you to find it right now.
No, it's like the Fight Club. It's literally just what he used to do is put a little dick in the one frame, just
yeah, right.
Flash and gone.
Yeah, didn't they do that in movies too with popcorn images and stuff, and then people watch the movie? Yeah, I think that's kind of well known, and so you're in the theater, and it's like, God, I could really go. And what do they call that again? Subliminal.
Subliminal. Yep.
It is just kind of subliminal stuff, and they would just stick a frame of a candy bar in there in the middle of a movie, or popcorn. I think popcorn was a big one.
Yeah.
So then we have Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This one, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I mean, everybody wanted to bang that chick,
and it was more of an adult-centered movie too.
Yeah,
so I think this one slides.
Was that Disney though? Was that a Disney?
I think it was a Disney release.
Because I know lots of guys that debated if they would fuck the red-haired chick in
Everybody
that.
would.
Yeah. Who Framed? So these screen caps come from the scene when Jessica gets thrown from a car after they hit a light post. She spirals out of the vehicle, and as she does, her dress flies up, and can be seen that she is not wearing any panties.
I think she's wearing panties. There's a little bit of a discoloration there.
Yeah, it could be a giant gash. Maybe. I mean, would it be even weirder though? Honestly, if you're being fair about this, if you threw some fucking thong on her, that might be a little
bit weirder.
It might be even creepier if you threw some like frilly panties on her, instead of just doing like the legs meeting and just blowing by it, because it would mean you're addressing the fact that she's. I don't know.
Yeah, I like she's got her skirt open.
And would it surprise anybody? I mean, I think it would be more surprising if Jessica Rabbit was it Jessica Rabbit? Was that her name?
Yeah, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, if Jessica Rabbit was wearing panties, like she strikes me as a commando chick all day, right?
Yeah, with that dress for sure.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Apparently, Baby Herman walks under the skirt of his nanny. He is seen extending his middle finger, looking up into her skirt. The finger was edited out of the DVD release of the film. So on the bottom, you can see his little hand.
Yep.
Pointing up at her snatch.
Roger Rabbit was totally a adult more.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you're talking Little Mermaid, when you're talking about Toy Story, those types of things, like where it's definitely meant for kids. But I agree with you. Roger Rabbit, if they would have thrown a few titties in there, it would have been fine.
Whatever.
Hercules, after Hercules punches the river guardian, a horseshoe hits him on the head, causing a phallic-shaped bump to grow out of his head. It eventually grows into a dick shape, including morphing his eyebrows into a set of balls. That's not even not even deniable.
Somebody slipped a dick into this one.
Yeah, that's just
somebody having fun.
Yeah. Again, no problem with this. Yeah. That's going to go right over a kid's head.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people forget most animation takes place in like these big animation houses in Korea with just like an assembly line of people. And those guys get sick of shit all the time.
Of course. Of course. And you know what is the real harm? Like I have this game with Marshall every day. I play this game with him. And I'm sure it's highly offensive, but I don't care. And Amanda gets upset with me, the warden, and G sort of gets upset with me, but he always wants to show off his Spanish.
Okay.
And so he'll be like, how do you say railroad in Spanish, Uncle Mike? And I'll say El Railroado.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. And he's like, no. And then he'll say, do you want me to count to 1,000 in Spanish? And I'll be like, fuck's sakes, fine. And he'll, uno, dos, tres, cuatro. And then I'm just like gapping out big time. And he's like, I know all the colors. And I'm like, oh, cool. What is black? And he goes, negro. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Of course it is.
How do you say yellow? Is it El Yellow? And he's like, no, it's this. And then I go, how do you say black? And he's like, I just did black. And I'm like, I forgot what it was. And he's like, negro. And I'm like, oh, okay. 10 seconds later, how do you say black? And he's like, why do you keep asking me to say it's negro? And I was like, yeah.
There it
and my
is.
brother's like, enough, dude. Stop making him say negro. I'm like, I got to have some fun too.
Yeah.
I got to have some fun too.
Exactly.
You know, just getting him to say it. But it's literally flying right over his head. He has no fucking idea.
No, this is on the level of like old SpongeBob. If you ever watched that, they always slipped adult jokes in there, just things the kids wouldn't get. You know, like
The Simpsons did that too.
Yeah. But like even as SpongeBob a kids show, there's like that famously when SpongeBob is trying to get Gary to take a bath, and he's acting like a pirate. And he's like, "Look, Gary, doubloons," and it's soap, and he's like, "Don't drop them," as he hands him off.
Yeah,
like just little things.
Yeah, it's great, and parents probably chuckle or look at each other when their kids watching, and it just goes right over their heads. This one I love. It's unfortunately not real, so that one's real. This one is fucking hilarious. This is the problem with the internet because the internet can just fuck around. Toy Story 3 scene shows the toy characters reacting with wide-eyed shock seeing their now grown-up owner, Andy, engaging in a grown-up sex act. Only the suggestive shadow is viewable. However, it's been proven the image with the shadow did not actually appear in any version of Toy Story. It was created as a viral hoax.
See, the mistake this guy did was he didn't make the shadow like vague enough. He should have just left it just less on the shading.
Yeah, so
he could have got away with a lot more.
If you're paying attention to the top picture, it's a guy sucking a dick.
No, that's a hard line. That's a girl sucking a dick. Who knows?
Or a girl. I suppose it looks like a guy, right? Or is that a girl? Is it supposed to be a girl sucking a dick?
No, I think it's a girl. I see a ponytail there. It could also be. I mean, I'm not going to judge.
Okay. I automatically assumed it was a guy sucking a dick, but a girl sucking a dick.
You're more proactive than I am.
Yeah. Okay, I see it. Okay, I see a girl. And that one's kind of obvious. The person that created this clearly wanted people to notice that in the shadow. It's still creatively pretty good. I bet that would go right past most people. But unfortunately, it was a viral hoax. And then there's another Hercules one that doesn't matter, showing that she's not wearing panties.
Nah, she could be too. Her legs are spread apart in a weird way.
Yeah, I like to think that there's a gash there, but that they're showing that kind of hot. But yeah, it seems kind of nefarious because there's no reason to not just have the dress drop down another half an inch and just show the leg, right? Yeah. So you definitely wanted to show that crease there where her legs meet. So that tells me someone was being cute. Otherwise, you would just have the dress come down a little bit further, and there's no question. Then it's just her legs showing.
Yeah.
The Lion King is an interesting poster for Disney's 2002 release of The Lion King. Secretly featured an image of a woman only wearing small panties, clearly showing off her ass. I see it,
but that one's totally just a lion's face.
I don't think so, dude. I thought that
I feel like
I
feel like I could totally do this, like if I took a picture of pants. Because also, if you look at the bottom line, like they totally added the crease between the legs. There's nothing there.
I disagree with you. I think you could be right. That the way the hair comes down on her back, the way her arms are, the way the panties are, like, yes, it's a cat's nose and mouth for sure. And if you took a picture of pants, you could recreate that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like the Lion King's face, though.
No. That's true, but I feel like they're going for more of like a epic godlike figure for his dad.
But couldn't you do that really with the Lion King
style
face though? It seems like like some artist intentionally did that to
I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it either way. I'm kind of glad that exists.
You see, I might be able to switch teams too, because if you look at the sun at the very bottom, it wouldn't reflect off the chin like that. So there wouldn't be sun on his nose, which means they lit that up on purpose.
Yeah.
So I can see where it goes either way.
Yeah. I just think, is it Simba? Is that the Lion King? Or
no, it's his dad.
Mustafa or something?
Mustafa? I think it was that guy. One sec.
Or was Mustafa the bad guy? Or
I think Mustafa
doesn't matter, but I think whoever that's supposed to represent.
No, Mufasa was the father.
Mufasa. Yeah. Okay. So I'm assuming that's supposed to be Mufasa.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look, that's not a great rendering of Mustafa.
Mufasa.
So,
yeah.
Mufasa. So
Mufasa.
Yeah. Mufasa face.
I like that one better. Mufasa.
Yeah. So if the artist rendering was spot on with Mufak face, then I would say, oh, it's just, you're seeing things into it. But the fact that it doesn't really look like him, like he normally looks in cartoon form, tells me that you wanted to show a chick in panties and an ass. Great. No problem with it.
No.
The Lion King, after Simba lays down on the cliff, dust flies up into the sky and forms the word sex for a brief moment.
I guess it does. Like this one right here in the top right, that you can kind of see
top
it
right.
Yeah, for sure. And I think somebody might have had fun with that one.
Yeah, I think so too. Looking at it, I don't know. Yeah, that it seems like they spelled out sex there.
Yeah, they could have done anything else with those stars. They could have made a circle pattern, a star pattern, anything.
Yeah, you don't need the middle part of the E.
Exactly.
Right? The middle part of the E and the crossing on the X.
Yeah.
And the S, really. That's not how dust would disperse like that. So It looks like that was kind of done sort of on purpose. I don't know. I can see it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Esmeralda's curvy body is highlighted and appears to be naked during her fire dance. In most of the dance, she appears clothed, but several frames show a naked body with the most detail around her titties and in her thigh area. Yeah.
Somebody had fun with this scene.
I'm not familiar with this. Did you see this movie? Was this like part of your? Yeah. Is this old or was this like what you from your childhood?
Oh no, definitely older one. This is probably late 90s.
Okay, so after I would have been watching these things.
Yeah.
But not. This doesn't go back to the 60s or 50s or
no.
Okay. Mickey Mouse, Bladdid. Coming from the minds of Euro Disney, Bladdid has cover art showing Mickey with his hand around a large blue cock, aka Minnie's body. Yeah, that's a cock.
Very cock-like.
That, oh my God, it's got a hole.
Oh, dude, the way the legs come down too, like the way the legs come into a ball bag.
Yeah, why would her dress, does she have a bow? Why would her dress be up over her mouth like that unless you wanted to accentuate? She usually has
the poofy arms, but.
Oh, is that the poofy arms?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. You're right. Yep. You're absolutely right. I still am going to defer to you wanted to show a clipped cock, and you did.
Yeah, they did.
Congratulations. And if you weren't aware of that, you are now, and that's all you're going to see going forward.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I like that. I think it was a fair list to go down.
No, it's always a fun list to see what they've been slipping in forever.
Kamala's got a dude problem. Should we go back to that?
She has a lot of dude problems.
She's got some dude problems. I love these commercials. White dudes, blue collar dudes, working class dudes. The dudes just aren't buying what she's selling. A recent NBC poll has Trump leading Kamala by dudes by 16 points, 56 to 40. Back at Harris headquarters, where everything is measured in race and gender, it's shocking that they haven't cracked the code on the male vote. Enter White Dudes for Harris, a $10 million ad campaign whose first cringeworthy ad opens with a guy saying, white dudes are tired of being told how much they suck and how they're the problem. All right, do we have the video?
What the Democrats do.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I got two ads.
That's what Hollywood does.
I know, I was going to say.
Like that. When they say the guy opens up about this, I think this is the actor, really smart guy. I can't remember his fucking name now. It's escaping
He'll probably
me.
Come to us when we see him.
Yeah, go ahead and play it.
Hey, white dudes. So I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem. And yeah, some white dudes are. Trump and all his MAGA buddies are out there making it worse. Yeah. Shouting nonsense in their stupid red hats and acting like they speak for us when they don't. All they've ever done is screw us over.
No, you don't
but
either.
If you're not on the MAGA train, where do you go? Isn't it just swapping out one crappy option for another? Then it hit me. This isn't about picking teams. It's about who's got a plan that's gonna make life better for me and my family. So I've been doing my own research and decided to check out Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And before you jump down my throat, they're actually talking to guys like us. No lectures, no BS. Just real solutions that protect our freedoms and help us take care of the people who matter. And honestly, I think Harris and Walz are the ones to make that happen.
It's a very black hat affectation for a white
your own
commercial.
Man. It's your call. But if anyone gives you crap about it, tell them it's none of their damn business.
Hey, they got the tagline in there.
Yep. Hey, yo, white dudes.
Yeah.
What's up with all this white dude hate? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we're tired of it, aren't we, white guys?
Come on, white dudes.
We're white dudes.
I actually got another Men for Kamala ad that was really funny I saw recently.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got me 1 minute here.
I've seen a few of these. I don't know which one
This
you're
is
going
a good one right here.
Yeah.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
No world.
I'm a man.
I'm a macho man.
I'm a macho man.
I like
It's our boy
ribeye
Dave.
steaks.
Yeah.
I lift barbell weights.
I can fit an entire can of Foster's in my mouth.
Anyways, you think I'm afraid to get my hands dirty?
You think I'm afraid of bears?
Bears. Grrr.
I'll
Why
tell
does
you
Dave do
another
that so
thing
well?
I'm sure as shit not afraid of. Women.
All of my besties are women.
I mean, everyone in my book club is a woman.
Last year, I did a wine tour in Tuscany with women.
I'm physically attracted
That's
exclusively to women.
Oh, yeah.
Ew, gross.
A woman wants to be president? Well, I'm man enough to give her my full-throated support.
You already had me at full-throated.
Because I'm man enough to raw dog a flight.
I'm man enough to raw dog an
Because I'm man enough to support women. I'm sick of so-called men dominating, controlling, and belittling women.
That's what I'm here for. Pound me like a chicken breast.
I'm man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
You know, I'm not actually sure anyone wants to do that.
Put on a scary clown mask and tell me I ain't
Because I love women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Oh, I just love that one.
Yeah,
That
there's
was
no
knocked
avoiding.
out.
Oh, that Tim. You should get tested.
That's from Normal World.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Normal
God. Now,
They
why
nailed
couldn't I
that
be
one.
there when they filmed that? I would
I
have.
know, me too.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to be a part of. The Biden-Harris State Department's own diversity, equity, inclusion chief, Zakia Carr Johnson, co-authored a guide to remedy a culture of male and or white dominance.
With a name like that, she knows a lot about the white community.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, if you wanted to really understand men, and why men would say something about Arnold Palmer like Trump did, or she's a shit vice president, you should talk to real men.
Yeah.
That's the problem you're running into is men don't fall for emotional triggers like some people. So men see right through the insincerity of the first commercial, the real one, by using we don't no BS, just talk, no lectures, just like real guys, real dudes, including gay guys, Garrett, can see right through what you're doing with something like that.
That sounds like a lecture to me.
Yeah. So just by using buzzwords you think men use doesn't mean you're conversing like men do. That's where it becomes disingenuous. That's where we fucking roll our eyes and walk away from it. That's the problem they're having. This summer, Hollywood white dudes, Jeff Bridges, Mark Ruffalo, Mark Hamill, and Bradley Whitford showed up on a Zoom fundraiser for the group. What better way to shore up the man vote than a bunch of dudes whose industry has spent years telling men how they suck on a regular basis, depicting them. Yeah. How many times have you seen that? Like, hey, honey, where are my keys? As if all that's how they've depicted men. And the fact is, when you have a bunch of people who are paid to perform for a living, trying to tell men how to think and how men are, we laugh at it. You just saying Mark Ruffalo, he played the Hulk. Yeah, that's what he does. He's the performer. It's all Mark Ruffalo is. It's all Ben Stiller is. They're performers. They pretend to do a lot of things. They play adult dress up for a living. Real men don't do that.
Yeah.
Real men have real conversations with friends. That's what real men do. That's why these conversations and these little fucking talking points fall flat with dudes, because dudes don't emotionally react to stuff like this.
No.
And we're not stupid. We could see, we know how white men especially are portrayed.
Yeah.
Most of us shrug our shoulders and just go, oh my God, hilarious. Did you see the new ADT commercial where the fucking two white clowns are breaking into the black couple's home?
He looks like me.
Hilarious. Did you see the new one where some guy can't even put his pants on in the morning until his fucking I don't know how to put a belt on, honey.
Yeah, it's every sitcom ever. Dumb white guy.
Yeah. Why do we not fucking react and throw a tantrum over it? Because you're not a threat. Again, you're not a threat in reality. You're not a threat. So you can act like we're all retarded fucking morons who don't know where our keys are, don't know how to put our clothes on. Honey,
what would I do without you?
How do I do anything? Honey, without your brilliance, how would I do anything? You can do that in your make-believe world. But we've noticed it. We're not retards. We've noticed it. It's obvious. And the people that have forced that narrative down everybody's throat are the Mark Ruffalo types, the Ben Stiller types, those performer people, the people that did really great in their drama classes and perform for a living. Doesn't surprise us at all. We've seen it a million times. Now we've got creatives for Harris. They're throwing the kitchen sink at this. The creatives ad pivots straight to gender, where we have the misfortune of listening to actors repeat on a loop that they're not afraid to vote for women and chant, I'm a man, just in case we're confused.
I'm a macho man.
Yeah. Here's a tip. If you're looking for a tip, Team Kamala and Tim Walz, if you're looking for a tip, you know what something a real man never says when he's hanging out with his buddies? Hey, Garrett, and I'll tell you how this would go. If I walked into a room and you're there and three of our buddies are there and we're hanging out, we're going to watch the game, we're going to fucking rip some rails, we're going to fucking make a night of it.
Our dicks are already out, we're good to go.
Hey guys, just want to let you know I'm a real man and I'm not afraid to vote for a woman. I almost encourage dudes out there to do this with their buddies. The amount of it wouldn't be met with like, you know what, man? I never thought of it that way. You're right. Yeah. I'm a real man.
That would never happen.
I'm a real man too. I could vote for a woman. Like no real man, like real man. No real man would say that and not expect to get unrelenting, no mercy shown for the remainder of his life. It would be brought up 30 years from now. Remember that time fucking Mahalski walked in and announced to the group he was a real man and not afraid to fucking vote for women? Remember when Bill did that? Holy fuck. The ass whooping he took from his buddies verbally, he'll never live it down. No. Never. It would get to the point where Bill Mahalski would walk in the room and go, guys, I know I'm a fucking idiot. Can we do one night where we don't fucking key off on stupid thing I said 20 years ago?
It's probably the equivalent of me putting tape over my mouth for the gay day of silence.
Yeah.
It's something I'm never going to live down. It's like, oh, that's some virtue signaling faggot shit.
Yes, but the good thing you have going for you is you're one of the dumbest people on earth at that point. You're a teenager. You're a kid.
I was 14.
Yeah, you're 14-year-old boy. Of course, that makes perfect sense. And it's funny to laugh at, and I will make fun of you for that for the remainder of my life.
Oh no, I've left every post on my Facebook up just because I like to go back and laugh at it too.
But think about it honestly, and there's no guy that would ever say that. I'm a real man. I can vote for a woman. Real men absolutely already understand that they could vote for a woman. They would never need to tell you. This is the problem you run into in Hollywood, where real men don't have a problem with gay people being in anything. No. It's this guy. And why do you need to have the queen bee in everything, fucking flitting about like an idiot in all your shows because Garrett doesn't fit the narrative.
No, how
Garrett's
else will they know
just
they're
a
gay?
guy. What?
How else would they know they're gay if they're not being flamboyant and obnoxious?
If they're not making total references to dicks all the time and prancy and wearing fucking flowery shit. You have to do that to flavor the narrative. No real man, what real men say is Kamala Harris has been a shit vice president. I don't know. That's what I see.
No, real men would walk in the room and be like, man, that bitch better have a good tax plan.
Yeah, right. They like, okay, well, what is she going to do to help? You know, to put an exclamation point on just how pro dude they are. So their man. I'm reading this article here. Their man game is so bad. Harris picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her VP nominee. Somehow convinced a white dude who put tampons in boys' bathrooms would sell with men in blue-collar battleground states. That's obvious, too, what you did by picking him. It was obvious as shit to see that Josh Shapiro should be how you would go. But then you guys have your meetings to figure all that shit out behind the scenes. And you go, well, he's obviously way better in an interview than the front runner. It's going to naturally lead to people going, why isn't he the guy? Right. So you couldn't have Josh Shapiro. Plus you had the whole Jew thing when you're trying to pick up a battleground like Michigan, Dearborn, that kind of thing. So the Jew thing was maybe an issue. There could be some truth to that. I don't know. Yeah. Seems reasonable. And so, let's get this fucking man's man. Let's get this dude who, everything about Tim Walz screams that, Oh,
totally.
Tim Walz is the guy that wants to go to the fucking house party and tell you what a man he is because he can vote for a woman.
Yep.
And then you immediately find out, whatever, good for him. But of course he started the gay club at his fucking local high school. Of course.
Tim Walz starts the Macarena at your house party. That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah. Tim Walz is the guy that real guys go, is that guy a little fucking off to you?
Yeah.
Real guys at a party would look at Tim Walz in the corner wearing a flannel that he just picked up at Target and be like, is that dude for real? Like, what's up with him?
Yeah. I guess
what's
less
up with that
competition
guy?
for me tonight.
Yeah, that's the conversation real dudes would have. Because believe it or not, I've been around real guys my whole life. And real guys would have that conversation about that guy. Yeah. They would be like, ooh, yeah, no, he seems nice. Sure, but what's up with him? He seems a bit off. Seems a tad inauthentic.
Yeah.
That's what you would say about Tim Walz if you were having real, honest dudes in a room having a conversation. That's just what they'd say. To put an exclamation point on just how pro dude they are, they gave Walz a shotgun and put him in front of a camera. Pro tip, next time, check to see if your dude liaison can load a gun before the cameras roll.
Yeah.
The only way that could have gone any worse is if Dick Cheney went shooting with him. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
In the wrong hand, not knowing how, which is fine. Lots of guys don't know how to handle a weapon, but don't act like that's the dude's dude. Because a lot of dudes absolutely know how to handle a gun. And they're going to look at that and go, is this guy fucking for real right now?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's going to be more glaring when you try to do it when you're not ready for it,
Yeah.
If anything, that's probably more insulting than just being like, I never really shot a gun before, so I don't know how. And most dudes would be like, I'll take you shooting. There's
also the Girl's Dad ad. Do we have the Girl's Dad ad?
That we do.
So you got, again, performers like this, as we'll show it to you. So you got Doug Beatoff, Jackoff, Emhoff with his fucking, I don't know what that is, daughter.
See, I was going to say daughter.
Yeah,
I
think
this
that
a trans situation.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what Emma is.
The blazer's a bad choice.
But it looks like the uniform of someone who is trying to make a political statement.
The haircut, the uniform, lazy eye.
All of it screams that. And then you get Doug Beatoff in there, desperately trying to prove he doesn't fucking beat the shit out of women and bang nannies.
Which, by the way, he's more of a man's man than anyone here.
So you get also in this group Ben Stiller, and you get Andy Cohen. These are, again, performers who come off to real men as extremely feminine. I'm sorry. They just do. These are the kids that when they were younger were in drama class. No offense to them.
No.
But these are people who live their lives trying to perform for others. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you cannot at the same time pretend that these are men that represent men. I know a lot of men. I know guys that work in construction. I know guys that are military. I know guys that work at breweries. I know guys that do IT work, that work in warehouses, that they're men's men. They're dirty. Their fucking hands are rough. They don't have time for this shit. They go because they have to support a fucking child. They'll show up at their kid's recital and they might enjoy it. They'll film it, but their hands are fucking rough. They're dirty. Yeah. Their shirts are dirty. They're men. They're dudes. They have a job to do. They have a responsibility. That's what they are. So having Ben Stiller, who was probably an ace in his drama club in fucking middle school, whose dad was also a performer, and Andy Cohen, queen of the fucking dance, talking to men is not helping your problem.
No.
It's not.
Nope, we don't see them as men.
No, they're just fine. I don't want them attacked. I don't want them beat up. No. But they're not going to lecture me about what it is to be a man. No, you're doing a bad job as someone whose fucking call sheet called for behave like a man. You're not selling it as the performer you think you are. Let's watch it and see how we did here.
To all the dads out there, I would say this is the time to really show your support for your daughters.
What do I love about being a girl dad? I love how much smarter she is than all the guys in the room already. Yeah. I can tell that she's going to be a powerhouse. Gotcha. She is already at 2.5.
My daughter's 22.
At 2.5, your daughter's a powerhouse.
She's already smarter than all the men in the room. That's
you mean the kid,
not good for you.
The kid you and your fucking gay lover bought or procured somehow, Andy.
If your 2-year-old's smarter than you, you got a bigger problem, Andy.
It's a way bigger problem. So you and your lover procured a child somehow, and now, of course, it's smarter than all the boys. She's going to be ruling the world one day. I can already tell. Really, Andy?
Is a feminist, incredibly strong, and has really just inspired me in so many ways. I love her.
Yeah. I'm the proud dad of Ella over here.
My
what happened to your first daughter?
Kamala is an
Pause.
investment in my
I got to be honest with you, and this might be an unpopular take. I liked the version of the second gentle lady that was smacking bitches and banging nannies.
That was a man's man.
Like, that was kind of a man's man. You know, I don't advocate for smacking a bitch up.
Man's man, but...
You know, I know we're not supposed to talk about stuff like that. I would never advocate for that. I've never done that. But the guy that was fucking crushing it with the nanny, he went one step too far. He probably could have pulled that off if he would have just pulled out and busted on her back or her stomach, but he didn't. He busted in her and she got knocked up. It kind of fucked up the whole thing. Otherwise, he'd maybe still be on this train.
No, it didn't fuck up the whole thing. It strengthened their marriage, remember?
Yeah, I know it strengthened their marriage, but, you know, his goal was to fuck the nanny and not have to like come up with some comical, it strengthened the marriage response. So his goal was to crush it with the nanny behind the wife's back. Real kind of toxic masculine thing to do.
Yeah.
That was the goal. And then he fucked it up by busting in her and knocking her up. So it kind of fucked his situation there. Andrew here is just queen bee. He is. And Benjamin here, like I said, was tops in his drama club.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. My vote is for Kamala.
Future.
I agree. I'm right there with you.
When the Dobbs decision came out 2+ years ago.
Abortion.
I heard from Kamala right away. And then the next person was Ella. She texted me right away, essentially saying, we need to fight.
They kicked her back to the States.
Pause. Hold on. I got news for you, Douglas. Emma sitting next to you there is never going to have to be concerned about an abortion.
No.
She might fight for the cause, but I'm not getting the feeling that Emma's going to ever, under any circumstance, require an abortion.
I mean, she might have a problem popping a boner on a date, but that's about it.
Yeah. I don't know what Emma is, but Emma doesn't look like she's sitting anywhere near dicks anytime soon.
Nope.
Just my opinion.
This is an issue for men and families.
Is it?
And this is one of the many, many reasons why we've got to elect Kamala as president.
Actually, I'm pretty sure women themselves said men stay out of this one.
Yeah. Now you need men?
Now you need us? What the fuck? I was told this is a woman's problem. Men will never understand what it's like.
Yeah.
time did I think that we would be having to fight for this and the fight for our own bodies.
Yeah, you're not.
And I think it's really important for the men to step up and show that they actually support us and they're willing to put things on the line to help us.
The problem is, Emma, we don't even know where our car keys are. I don't know how I can help you. I'm just trying to make my way through life. I don't know how to do anything without the Emma.
No.
That's the problem, Emma. We'd love to help, but we're just too stupid. We're just too dumb. We don't know nothing. Nice try, girls' dad ad. Are you trying to make it more cringe and unrelatable each fucking passing day? The only one that potentially could be a man in that commercial is the old one, old Doug version, where he was crushing pussy behind his wife's back. He just fucked it up. He went too far. He went one pump too long and ended up busting in her. It's where he fucked up, Doug. You know it. And if you wanted to have real conversation like men, his boys would get together at the bar one day, have a few libations, and they'd be like, dude, you were one pump away. One. It fucking ruined everything, Doug. And Doug would go, I know, dude. Dude, don't think I haven't played this out 1,000 times in my head. Yeah, I got tired of playing the same fucking golf course every day. Every day. Same hole. Same course. Like Mike Clark used to say. Yeah, it gets old playing the same hole. Thought I could play a different course, man. And I fucked up and I went one pump too long and I knocked this idiot up. Damn it. Yep. And then they bust his balls for it all night. They cheers to it. Let's do shots to it. Yeah, remember that time Doug fucking one pump too far, one pump too long, one pump too far. That would be the chant in the bar if you were talking about real men and real man conversations. It's called ball busting. It's what real men do real well. It's what we're good at.
Actually, I saw Ben Stiller put something out. It's just a quick little clip showing that he is a real man. It's some footage of him being a real man.
Oh, okay.
It's just the secret splendor of him in the mine.
Yeah. Because he's a performer.
He's a real man right there. Look at him go.
Look at him perform. He's so much more talented than you are.
I love that this whole scene he's just getting in the way.
Look at him perform. He's so talented. Here's why this also matters. When you're looking for small wins, and I know we've gone long, and I'll do an email, but I'll just read you this. This is why it matters. Because real men, no fucking real man is cool with Daniel Penny going to prison for life for defending people on a subway. Yeah. No real man is going, no, that sounds reasonable. Why don't we provide gender-affirming care for inmates in prison, right? And that leads to our final story. California inmate managed to undergo sex change surgery using taxpayer money. Skylar DeLeon started transitioning while behind bars after she, of course, don't want to, she goes by she now, after she was sentenced to death in 2009 for the murders of Thomas and Jackie Hawks. DeLeon, who was born John Jacobson, overpowered the couple on their 55-foot yacht, tied them to the boat's anchor before throwing them overboard.
Oh, that's very premeditated.
Oh,
lawyers
said he did so to pay for a sex change. No, he didn't do that to pay for a sex change. No. I'll give you some more details and we'll tell you why he did it. And how many women do you know could pull that off?
None.
I don't know. Maybe
dude, I'll put it like this.
It seems sort of mannish to be able to overpower people and throw them overboard. Seems kind of mannish to me as far as crimes go. His wishes came true. So lawyers said he just did it to pay for a sex change, having forced the couple to sign over their assets before they were killed. Her wishes came true when the California taxpayer started footing the bill for her surgery in April of last year. In a letter to the Washington Free Beacon, she talked about having gender-affirming titties put in April of 2023. I've been transitioning. When I first got to San Quentin, I started hormones in 2009, shortly after being evaluated. My transition was definitely tough, but I've made it. I am going to committee to transfer to a female facility. I'm being housed in the hospital for my safety. My counselor and doctors refused to release me anywhere except the Central California Women's Facility. Brilliant move, sir. When you talk about having the potential ace in your hand, Jonathan did that.
Yep.
John went, oh, I got to go to San Quentin, Gen Pop. No, how do I fucking fix that? I'm trans. Now he's being housed in a hospital. Throw some fake tits in, and he's on his way to the women's prison. They don't say anything about cutting his dick off. I don't know.
Not going to happen.
That's a brilliant move, sir. It's the move I'd use. Yeah. As a pussy of a man, that's the move I use. If I was getting thrown in prison, I would immediately transition. Why? To take advantage of my situation and try to better it. And being in a women's prison, while that might suck, would be a fuckload better than being in a men's prison at like San Quentin. The move by authorities in the state to foot the bill for the surgery came on the back of policies and precedents set during Harris's time as Attorney General. Before she was elected, California started offering hormonal treatments for those claiming to have gender dysphoria. In 2015, Harris oversaw the state's fight to block the sex change operation of inmate Jeffrey Norseworthy, arguing it wasn't necessary medically. Harris pledged to appeal after a district judge ruled against him. She then went on to negotiate a settlement with inmate Rodney Queen, who filed a similar suit. This settlement came with an announcement by the state that they would change policy and provide sex reassignment surgery for inmates. And I'm sure the Mark Ruffalos and Ben Stillers of the world are thrilled by this. I'm sure they're thrilled.
Do you know who's not thrilled? Marina and I, who currently are trying to pay for this sort of operation.
Yeah, maybe
we're very upset.
Yeah, she should go to prison in California.
Oh, I already told her, talk to your parents, see if you can get some illegal paperwork or something.
Kamala Harris said at the time, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that the trans woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure they changed the policy in the state of California so that every trans inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care they desired and need. Again, this was someone on death row that taxpayers are paying for. I believe, actually, it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country where I pushed for that policy in the Department of Corrections. So you can just look at all the work I've done over the years. I feel very strongly about this. And at its core, it's an issue of humanity. DeLeon had answered an ad for the couple in the newspaper in an attempt to sell their 55-foot yacht. She responded to it with her then pregnant wife, Jennifer Henderson, and his toddler daughter.
Wait, how do a woman get a woman pregnant?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how that works. So they showed up pretending to be prospective buyers. She being the dude, then went with two male accomplices, left the bitch and the child home on a test sale, but once at sea, overpowered them with tasers, forced them to sign over their assets to him in legal documents. They were then tied to the boat's anchor and tossed overboard, drowning them. Their bodies were never found. Days afterwards, DeLeon tried to empty the couple's bank account. The couple were happily retired and well off, but they wanted to sell their yacht and move closer to their grandchildren. When family and friends noticed they were gone and that the boat had not been returned or moored in its normal way, they contacted police. DeLeon and his wife insisted that they had completed the purchase of the boat and they didn't know where the couple was. When police looked further into the couple, they realized DeLeon was a convicted felon. That's when they became more suspicious. It was only when a public appeal a month later revealed that the couple's Honda had been left in a mobile home by DeLeon that she was arrested. Then the notary who this dude claimed had witnessed the sale of the yacht to him in the marina parking lot revealed that she had lied to the cops and backdated the paperwork in exchange for some cash. The accomplices then confessed. All are serving life in prison without the possibility of parole. De Leon was also found guilty of murdering John Jarvie in 2003, who he had met while serving time for burglary. He'd slit Jarvie's throat in Mexico after Jarvie gave him $50,000 on the pretense of an investment opportunity. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention I'm trans all of a sudden.
Obviously. Trans the whole time, for sure.
Yeah. So when you talk about small things, going back to the beginning point of this show, this is the type of stuff where Kamala Harris wants to get cute with the wording of, I will follow the law. I will follow Donald Trump. This law existed when Donald Trump wasn't pushing for this nonsense. And the reason you can't be open and honest about how you feel about this subject is because no real man, when you're talking about real men in a real conversation would go, the fuck out of here. Hell no. Fuck no. I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to fund that monster getting a transition and conveniently being relocated to the women's correction facility. And I don't give a shit what anyone else thinks about it. Put your fucking feelings away. No, he fucked around. He found out. And no, I do not want my tax dollars going for that. So no matter how much time Andy Cohen spends preaching on his TV screen or Ben Stiller preens for the cameras and they're proud of shit like this, real men go, the fuck no. That's why Kamala Harris has a men problem.
Yeah.
That's why Kamala Harris will always have a man problem. All right, let's do an email or two.
Cool. I got pissed like a motherfucker, so let's go.
Yeah, that's cool. And I again for tomorrow, I don't know if there'll be a show, but let's see.
I'll be here.
Walters at DetroitCast.com. If you'd like to send an email, feel free. Hey, Mike, your internet sucks. Just curious. Are your wires above ground or buried? Hi, Woke Bay.
Oh, fuck. Hey, how's it going? Hi, Connor.
I love that dude. I wish he'd email more. I know that's
phone job. As soon as I hear, hi, Woke Bay.
Yeah. Hi, Woke Bay. All right, let's call it a day there.
All right.
We may do a show tomorrow. If we do a show tomorrow, it'll be with Vinny from Sponge. If not, I'll do that with him next week. And I'm going to welcome Tooch into town. But I'll do a show Thursday regardless. Cool. Well, that'll be a member show. Yep. Patreon.com/TDC podcast. If you'd like to become a member, get that last show of the week. And we'll kill it there. Go take a whiz, sir. And I will talk to you all maybe